In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Ladies and gentlemen, on September 27th, 2018, our lives nearly changed forever due to an incident at the St. George Regional Airport in St. George, Utah. I'm going to discuss a timeline of events that's been researched thoroughly, and at the time, this was a very serious incident. It was being investigated as domestic terrorism, and we're going to go through a series of events and establish why that was. In the first exhibit A, you'll see this is an overhead, Google Maps overhead of the St. George Airport. On this particular day, we know it was September 27th, 2018, particularly because that was a special event. Just a quick Facebook search, you can see this picture, which this is a pretty neat photo. This is a good friend of mine. This is Elder Ian Anderson, returned home from his mission. The perpetrator in this incident was as Ian's uncle. So you can see there, that's just a pretty typical, welcome home, Elder Anderson banner. The family's there. You got some great family in this picture. You got a Ute uniform there. We don't hold them against it, but they're holding that against them. But anyway, so but you can see right up here, you can see the date stamp, September 27th, 2018. So the incident happened. Let's go back in time. Let's talk about the incident, and we'll come back to this photo. So the site of the incident was right here. So if we zoom in right here, so the St. George Airport, like most airports, has paid parking, and you can see this island structure right here, right in the middle of your screen. Now, what that is, that's one of these typical arm bar parking gates that flips up. You have to take the little ticket out, depending on how long you've been in there. Then it'll charge you accordingly. Well, on the night of this incident, what happened was the perpetrator, he drove in and he went right through that arm bar, ripped it right off from its hinges. If you don't know what we're talking about here, basically, this is what we're talking about, is this type of a structure here. So probably just a quick YouTube search, you can see that there's plenty of people that have ran through these, but I'm going to talk about the very disturbing circumstances that led to this particular incident. So first of all, let's talk about what the perpetrator was driving at the time. So the perpetrator was driving a late model, an older model, Mazda. It's one of these crossover SUVs, and you can see this is what the perpetrator was driving at the time. So you can understand that that this is kind of a fancier model, had some enhanced features, some parking sensors, things like that. I can only imagine the alarms that went off when he drove through the arm bar to get into the parking structure. So according to the perpetrator, the reason he drove this car through this barrier, similar barrier, of course this isn't the St. George Airport, but I just include this for so you can see what one looks like. So according to the perpetrator, he was in a hurry because he was running late. Now, I guess part of the incident here is the particular circumstances on why the perpetrator was running so late. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at some things here. So if you go back to this great photo of this great family, again, what a good looking family they have here. But you know, the story kind of starts to break down a little bit when you zoom in, and this is where I'll call this the first really big thing where the story takes a wild turn. If you look at this gentleman back here, you know, you look at the quality of people in this photo, and you say, who is this guy? Is this guy a homeless guy? Who is this guy that kind of peeked in the very back? Of course, Facebook, you know, has an algorithm, and when you put in a face, it kind of can tag who that person is. According to Facebook's face recognition algorithm, this person who we first believed was just a homeless man who just gotten in the photo, kind of photobombed it, is actually Cary, who was the perpetrator of this event. So just think, a few moments before this photo was taken is when he ran his car through that airport, you know, the arm bar, the arm gate. So if you look closely, you can look at those eyes, you can look at the unkempt hair, the red eye. It doesn't look like anybody else in this photo's got red eyes, so I don't think it's the red eye effect that you sometimes get from a camera. I think there's something else at play here. So in a former video, we established that the same perpetrator who had done a couple other things, we'd established that perpetrator was not from Moscow, Idaho, but rather Moscow, Russia. Now, so what was the perpetrator doing before the incident at the airport, and why was he so late to to a greeting where he was going to meet his nephew who had been on his mission for quite some time? It seems like an important thing, and it'd be like, okay, so why are you so late to this incident? Well, a quick Google search established that on that particular day, there was actually a commie rally in St. George, Utah. You can see here's some pictures here of that rally, and you can see the old Soviet flag there, and you know, seemed innocent enough until I found this photo on somebody's timeline. I did a little image enhancement. Now, if you look right here, you can see right there is the perpetrator. He was right there at the rally, and it's like, holy cow, what is going on here? So according to the timestamp, this picture was uploaded about 4:30 p.m. So according to the Facebook post, Elder Anderson, his flight didn't get in until about 6:30. So, you know, can't fault somebody for exercising their First Amendment rights. You know, if somebody wants to go to a commie rally, then they can go to a commie rally. So you'd say, okay, how long does it take to go to a commie rally? Maybe an hour, maybe two. Depends on, you know, if there's some food vendors, maybe some t-shirt vendors, things like that. You know, spend your time, have a good time being a commie. So, but this is where, you know, again, if you're going to prioritize seeing your nephew that's been gone for 2 years serving the Lord, and then, but you know, are used to kind of doing things at your own pace, and kind of fill your days full of different events and things like that. So anyway, this was something maybe even a little bit more grievous and a little bit more disturbing than the commie rally is. In this next picture, you have to understand, we'd had to do some real digging to find this. There was definitely nothing on the perpetrator's timeline showing this, but we dug into, it was actually his wife's Facebook timeline. And this photo establishes a pattern behavior that's very disturbing, which again led to the incident at the airport. You can see right here, again, Mr. DCO, the perpetrator, enjoys the finer things in life, and you can see on this particular day, he had decided to get what looks like a pedicure, or a manicure, I should say. Sorry, I'm a man, I don't know the difference most of the days. But again, this is a manicure. You can see the color there. It's not really a fall color. It was later in the fall where this incident happened. At least get a fall color, Cary. Come on, don't get the pink. I guess maybe pink's universal, but. And according to the internet, there's a timestamp on this photo at about 5:45, which, if you're in a hurry to get to St. George Airport, it's about a 20-25 minute ride out there from downtown. And, then if you were running in a hurry and you want to see that iconic photo of your nephew getting off the plane and coming down the hallway there and doing the whooping and hauling, you can understand that you would be, in a hurry to get out there. So on that date, this man drove this car through one of these gates. And again, this was investigated as a domestic terror incident at the time. Upon further investigations, you can see why it was possibly investigated that way. And anyway, just give some context to this incident. Thank goodness it wasn't domestic terror. Nobody likes domestic terror. And anyway, that's the story.